Good morning, guys. Hope you're well. It's been 1 month since my last confession, so welcome back. I'm just heading down to prep the tap room ready for opening today. We're expecting a reasonable day, I think. It's been a busy weekend so far there. Lots of beer shifted. We've got the stout back on cask, which has pulled some additional customers in as well. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm well behind with canning, as you've probably seen from the website if you visit. We've been out of stock of cans for a couple of months now, I think, most cans. So we're starting to try and build that up again now in the spare minutes that we have. The stout should be back in stock as you watch this. Well, I'm going to have some Get Lucky back on the shelf, hopefully by the end of today. That's Sunday, fingers crossed. If not, you may see those appear during the week. And then we've got to get Murgy and Moston back into a stock position. We'll tell you a bit more about that when I get down to the brewery. We'll get set up and I'll fill you in with the other stuff that's been going on. Right, here we are, ready to set up. Some crap still outside. Containers I borrowed from Hush for Folk and Boat, all empty now. I might have to reuse those actually. If they don't come pick them up, I'm going to, because I've got more beer than I've got containers coming through at the moment. Just brewing a bit extra for cans, as I mentioned before, for Christmas. This is what it looks like when we get here, basically. We just, if we're opening consecutive weekends, we just sort of leave the tables out overnight, and rather than putting them in and pulling them out, and putting them in and pulling them out every night. If we've got a couple of days back to back, we'll just leave them out. We fence them off with these barriers just to make sure nobody crashes into it. Elliot's going to come along and sort all that out in a minute. Let's wander inside. We'll get started setting up. Right, here we go, into the tap room. Firstly, lights, twinkly lights are on. We still haven't managed to, we've had an offer from an electrician now, so I'm going to do it, but we still haven't managed to replace that light. So when I put the main light on in the brewery, it flickers and flashes, and it's kind of distracting. It's also a sodium lamp, so it's just a weird colour. It makes everything look a bit odd. So we just rely on the twinkly lights for now. And first thing we do was we put on the YouTube light. I'm planning to do a bit more filming over the winter. So I've also had, I went Vistaprint mad. I've been printing things. So we also put a little video recording notice up. So if customers see us wandering around with cameras, they know what's going on. And you know, if people don't want to be on it, then absolutely fine. I've only had one request not to show somebody. Don't know why. Maybe she has a secret. Next, telly on. And over here, telly on. And these tellies are the new menus that we've got up. I'm using some software. I'll link to them. This isn't sponsored, by the way. I don't do any of that stuff, do I? But this is a bit of light reflection there. This is Sippo, S-I-P-P-O, Fire Stick based. And I just go on my PC, laptop, set up the menu, which drinks we want on it, what prices, etc. And you can run as many screens as you want on it. There's a static menu, which is that one. And then on this TV, again, with another Fire Stick, I've got a kind of scrolling slideshow really. So we've got an invitation to subscribe to the YouTube channel, which then changes to the menu, and then there's a noise notice, a noise warning request thing. So we'll cover that later. Next, into the cold room, reasonably well stocked at the moment, and we're going to turn on. Ooh, nice little puff from that one. On that one. On that one. So that is Moston Dragon, Cross Stout, Murgy Straight. I also, because I'm frightened of leaking all my CO2 out at night, I turn the gas supply off to the kegs. And we've got Hawkstone Session Lager on, and beneath that we've got a Lucas Lager. I don't make a lager, as you know, so they're on today. We've got a Get Lucky keg, and we've got a Bonds IPA from Hush in Northwich here. We've got a Cruise Control from Sean at Tom's Tap and Brew House, And then we got a Lily's cider from Lily's. Cherries and berries. It's bloody lovely. And no shortage if we start to run low. I've got plenty. And I found, although I've got no cans, look on top there, I found 2 cans of Moston Dragon, which are out of date now. Tell you what, first comment gets 2 out of date cans. First comment below. Whoever's the first to post, right at the top, I'll send you them. They're still all right. They're only a week out of date, so all good. Can't really sell them. I think I can give them away anyway. If I'm breaking any laws, somebody tell me. And then we're ready, pretty much, behind the bar. The reason that the cold room's off, if you look at the Inkbird on top, whoop, there we go. You will see we are at currently 12.2 degrees in the cold room, which is perfect for the cask dispense, but not for the keg dispense. Didn't really show you that properly, did I? Let me show you, actually. So we go like this. So I'll show you this one because it's clearer to see. Out of the coupler, the gas goes in. Out of the coupler, through here, and into the line cooler here. Then out of the back of the line cooler, inside the line cooler, I don't know if you can see that, it's a block of ice, an ice bank. And out of there into the taps on the wall outside. So where we can serve the cask beer doesn't go through the line cooler, doesn't need to. We serve the cask beer straight out at 12 degrees. Clearly we need the lager colder than 12 degrees, so we go out of the lager into the front of the line cooler, out of the back of the line cooler, up to the tap. And the spiral stainless coils that connect the front and the back, John Guest fitting, it loops around, so the product is going to flow through this ice bank basically and give up some of the heat into the ice. So digital menu, analog menu. There's Jezza, and some people seem to prefer that, so that's what we'll do. Also, it was pointed out the other day that I didn't have my license displayed in a prominent position, so there it is as well. It was displayed, it's just hidden, but now it's prominent. Meanwhile, in the brewery side, nothing to set up here other than get the glass washer on ready, so it's got some heat in. Turn on the water supply to the building. Check the water supply to the building. Check. And then admire the huge mess that I've created again, fill in all of the available space and thus necessitating another industrial unit, potentially. We'll see. Get lucky, not labelled yet. We canned these yesterday, so they're sort of mid production right now. So batch 74, not 74 cans. These are for a trade order that we've taken, but we're going to be canning some more for you guys, hopefully shortly, maybe before we open today. Right, let's do a little stock check, see what we're running out of. Got some cans of Cross Stout. I bought these little 4-pack collars. They weren't expensive at all. I think they were like 79 quid for 1,000, and they're made from sugarcane waste, I guess, from the sugar manufacturing process, so biodegradable, etc. So for walk-in customers, we're sticking them in 4s now. For deliveries, doesn't make sense to do 4s, so we'll still be doing 6s, but if you happen to walk in, then the choice of 4s or even individual cans is possible. Bit of squash for the kids. Oh, nearly out of blackcurrant. Nobody's ordered a lager and black, thank God. Orange squash looks all right. We've got some lime cordial, then we've got soda and sparkling water. We've got some garnishment for the soft drinks and a bit of fruit that we use in the gin fizz. And then the spirits, which mostly go into the cocktails, which I never thought I'd have a bar that sold cocktails, but we seem to have stumbled on something. They sell really well. Customers feel a bit guilty when they're not actually drinking our beer, but we don't mind. As long as you're having a good time, we don't really mind. Drink whatever you want. But the Filthy Gorgeous Raspberry Rose rum and the chocolate orange. We use the raspberry rose in the raspberry rose mojito, and we use the chocolate orange dark rum in the old fashioned. And Elliot shakes them up like a good one. He was like Tom Cruise in here on Friday. I couldn't believe how many cocktails we sold on Friday night. Ridiculous. In fact, he was shaking cocktails that hard, he did his back in. And might have to go and see a chiropractor now. I'm not even joking, he did. I probably wasn't actually shaking the cocktails. It must be coincidence, but it was simultaneous. This 3 Locks gin was a really smart decision, and we shift some gin now. I've actually got Matt coming in shortly with a restock, another 6 bottles, because we're flying through it. I'm actually going to in fact I might do them all. I'm going to put the gin on the website for those of you who aren't round here, because it is a really nice gin. Small batch, he makes 38 at a time, round the corner, and it'd be nice if some of you gin fans might want to try it, maybe for Christmas, but I'll get them on the website as soon as I can. And the same with these. The raspberry rose rum is beautiful on its own, as is the chocolate orange, but as a cocktail, divine. And I'll put the recipes up on the YouTube page, I think, as well, maybe. Or maybe on the screen. But I won't do it today, because I'm going to run out of day. I'll do it soon. Pinot Grigio, Prosecco, a little bit of rosé, and that's Zinfandel even, I should say. So I'm going to need blackcurrant squash. I think I'll check mixers in a minute. I think I'm running low on tonics as well. But yeah, that looks not too bad in there. Red wine was down there. I think we're out of red. Yeah. That's the last bit of red wine, so we've got to get some red wine as well. And then in the pop fridge, oh yeah, definitely need more mixers. 2, 4, 6, 7 mixers left, tonic. We've got plenty of Fanta Zero, a few Fanta full fat, enough Coke for today, I think, and a bit of Sprite. I think there's some Sprite in that other fridge as well. Yes, there is. Right, so tonic, wine, and blackcurrant cordial. Red wine and blackcurrant cordial. That's what's needed. Let's go to Morrison's. Right, all wiped down. Elliot will be here in a minute to help set up outside. We'll get that done. It's about 20 to 12. We open at 12 till 6 on Sundays. I want to talk about a noise complaint that we had. So we're pretty quiet here, and as you know, we're not here in the week, but there's no noise at all. But it's an industrial unit, so a certain amount of noise is to be expected from the site. We've got a car body repair shop. We've got a historic sports car repair maintenance place. We've got a solar panel installer, so there's vehicles coming, there's a little bit of noise, and the residence is opposite. You know, moved into these houses long after these buildings were here. There's also a pub on the corner, the Big Lock, as you've seen on previous videos, which is a proper pub with quiz nights and music and, you know, late night drinking, etc. So, you know, it should be no surprise to the residents that it's not silent around here. Just sort of setting the scene. But even so, we try and be good neighbours. A couple of years ago, I've talked about this in a previous video as well. We had a call one morning. I booked a day off work to do some work here, and I was banging a kind of crowbar into the shives in the casks to leave them out. And it's kind of noisy, but the doors were closed. My phone rang, and as one of the neighbours asked me if I could keep the noise down because her husband or partner was trying to sleep. So. And on that occasion, I was happy to, because I could have done that any time. It didn't have to be right there and then. I was going to do it later in the day. So I said, yeah, sure. We'll do it later. And we did. All problem solved. So fast forward a couple of years, no issues at all. And then Sam, who you saw playing his guitar in the last video, asked if he could busk outside one evening. And I said, well, it's outside. It's not my space. I don't own it. If you want to busk, you can busk. Nothing I can do to stop you, but, you know, have fun. So we played outside, but we had a crowd in that had been elsewhere during the day, and this was kind of a final stop on the way home. It's about 9 p.m, and they were in singing mood. So Sam's playing all the favourites from Oasis, and everybody's joining in, and they weren't good singers, honestly. And it was a bit loud, and even at the time, probably 9 o'clock, maybe 9:15, I said to Elliot, I'm not sure that's what we want here. You know, rowdy bunch outside, football chants, etc. You know, we're a kind of tasting room, tap room for people that want to come and try our beer and be with each other and have a, you know, pleasant conversation. So then my phone rang, and one of the neighbours, it was the same neighbour actually, you know, it's 9:30 on a Friday night or Saturday night, I think, and we're trying to have our windows open and enjoy a little bit of peace, and it's all noise. And you can take that you can respond to that in two ways. Many pubs would say, you know, it's 9:30 on a Saturday night, you live next to a pub, what do you expect? But we're better than that, I think. So, and we were in agreement, actually, it was a bit rowdy. So I went out straight away, told Sam, knock it off, and please. Thanked him for entertaining the guys outside for a bit, and he packed up and went. But the singing continued for another 20 minutes or so. We were actually at home and done by 10:15, and the licensing hours go to 10 here, so no problem in terms of that. But it did make me think that sort of 8 to 10 period where we were attracting perhaps people that were coming for the wrong reasons. And then the battery died as usual, so I'll continue here. Sorry for the change of scenery. But yeah, wrong crowd, or actually not a bad crowd, but just the wrong venue, I think. So yeah, we made a conscious decision. I think we'll try not to be that last stop of the evening. We do have neighbours, so we want to be considerate. So we decided that really from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m, having studied the numbers in the POS system as well, it's just not worth it. We're an afternoon, early doors kind of place. People will come, assemble, meet their friends, have a few beers, and then if they want a more lively evening with music or food, they can head off and make the most of the other facilities around the town. So 8 o'clock finish now. And I thought that was it, but then about 3 weeks later, I got a phone call from Cheshire East Council, talking about statutory nuisance and noise, etc., etc. So we got into the details. I had assumed it was the same person, but we've since spoken, and it's not. She said it's not, so that's fine. But that also made me think, wow, there's somebody else there then across the road that's, you know, sitting in silence in terms of communicating with me, but is perhaps getting a bit peed off with the noise, etc. So I wrote a letter to all the neighbours, about 50 copies, put them through all the letterboxes, saying, look, you know, we're trying to run a business, but we're also conscious that we want to be good neighbours. Please just come over. We don't bite. If you've got a problem, come and have a chat. We'll work it out. And I think that's the best way to approach it. Some people just perhaps don't have the confidence to come over, and it's easier for them to ping an email or an anonymous phone call into the council or whatever, and that doesn't help us. You know, talk to us. We're happy to work it out, and in that case, we agreed entirely with the phone call that evening and actually put some changes in place. Anyway, the position of the council was, you know, they've got to go through the process with the complainant, but they were, based on what we told them, they were very happy with the way that we'd accommodated previous requests and previous comments that we'd received, the banging and the singing, etc. They were happy that we'd done probably more than would be expected. So I'm happy with that. We'll just see how it progresses. And in the meantime, we've got to sign up now, which you see in a lot of places, don't you? When you're leaving, please respect our neighbours, etc. We've done that just to make sure people know. And at 8 p.m, if there's a quiet crowd in, they're having a good time, then we can close the doors and we can continue to serve until the licensing hours expire, which is 10 p.m. But if people are sitting outside and there's clearly a noise level that we don't think is acceptable, then I'm more than happy to either pull them indoors and shut the door, or, you know, start winding it up. And I think it's the summer nights where we're potentially going to have that issue. So that was that noise complaint. I'm currently sat in my kitchen at home. that video was started at the weekend, then it just got a bit crazy in the afternoon. It was the best weekend we've had for a good while, actually. I was very pleased with the results at the end of the day. So I've now got to head off to a day job event in, where are we going this week? We're going to Toulouse, which I'll show you real quick. So that was Toulouse. Good mix of work and a bit of evening, let your hair down. Not that I've got much hair to let down. Let your hair down type activities in the Aeroscopia Museum at Toulouse Airport. Really quite interesting. Not a big plane buff. You know, I've sit on the inside of plenty of them, but you never get a chance to study them close up from the outside usually. So that was pretty good. Should we go back to the brewery for a bit? Hey, back in the room. We'll do some canning now. I've got a lot of canning to do at the moment. I had a trade order. I can get this bloody glove on. I had a trade order from a local business who I won't name yet. I'll ask for their permission. And they've asked me to make 100 4-packs mixed for them to distribute to their customers at Christmas. And then another branch of the same business asked for another 60 sets of 100. So that's 160 individual cans of 4 types of beer. We're doing Murgy, Cross Stout, Ginger and Get Lucky for them. And we're in the middle of that process. So, click, click, both full. Take the cans off. Very quickly stick the next cans on. Start those so we don't waste any time waiting for the fill. Lids on, into the seamer. Start it spinning. 2 seams, slightly different shape roller on each side inside. One kind of curves the side of the lid over, the other one kind of tucks it in. You may have seen if you've watched the other videos, it was a nightmare to set this up, but it's stayed pretty much where it needs to be since. These 2 now go in the sink here, which is full of water for a bit of a rinse, and then the next 2 cans go there ready. These are now full. We take these off, put them down there, put the next 2 on, start it off. Lid on, lid on. And there we go. And so we repeat. Right, cans are filled. I've got 167 out of that batch. The rest in that tank, I'm gonna keg it, and we can can it at a later date or just sell it in kegs. Doesn't really matter. These are in addition to the trade order, which has already been done, and they're in there unlabelled at the moment. As I mentioned, but these will have the normal Get Lucky labels on. We're just placing them by hand still at the moment. It doesn't take that long. In fact, it's only very fractionally slower than sticking them on with the machine. By the time you've put the can on, pull the handle, picked it up, put it down, it's not too different. And it just gives me something to do to switch my brain off for a bit. I've just noticed in there as well, I've kept those 3 boxes of cans that you can see on the top there are empty because I've just found a keg of Murgy Straight, which needs to go. I was going to put it on in the tap room and give customers the option of keg or cask on the Murgy, and they just like the cask. So I was meant to can it, never got round to it, so I'm going to can those next. So you might see a few Murgies on the site as well. What I haven't got is any Moston or ginger at the moment. I've got some ginger carbonated in kegs, just the last bit from the last batch, but again most of that went into cask because that seems to be the preferred format for it around here in the pubs. So these will go back in the boxes that the empty cans came in, 24s, just to move them around the brewery. I'll stick them in the cold room on the shelves, although it doesn't really matter, to be honest, because it's not colder in the cold room. It's no colder in the cold room than it is in here at the moment, because it doesn't need to be. What have we got? 10 degrees. So that's probably as cold as we'll get for the next few weeks. It's good enough. Right, let's get these dates stamped. What batch are we looking at? These are the can rings I was talking about. They're from Biopack. They call it Biocane, but basically it's made from sugarcane waste, I guess. So they come stacked. There's about 1,000 in the box, but they weren't expensive, and it sits on the top of the cans. Like you used to get those plastic stretchy polythene things. So I've got a few cans here. I'm just going to assemble a pack. It goes on exactly as you would expect, over the top of the cans, and you sort of bit of firm pressure in the middle and then pop the edge over, pop the edge over, same at the back, pop the edge over, pop the edge over, and there you go, done. The only little thing with them that I discovered is if you accidentally pick 2 up, and they do stick together, sometimes you can't tell you've got 2, there's 2 there. Just separate them, there you go, there's 2 there. If you try and put 2 on, the seam of the can doesn't go all the way through, and when you pick them up, you drop your cans on the floor. And then obviously what we've got to do next is straighten it up so it all looks pretty in the fridge. Right, I don't know where the day's gone. I've got to disappear in a minute. Sarah's taking me out for a Greek meal. I'm looking forward to it. All tidied up, cleaned down now, everything's back to normal. We're ready and set for next weekend when the tap room opens. Did a reasonable amount of canning. We're back into a stock position with some cans now. I've got the Cross Stout in there, you'll see some Get Locky a little bit further down, and a very limited number of Murgy Straight. Unfortunately, only 1 box. I had 2.5 kegs. One that I'd racked from into can before, and that's where that single box there, 24 cans plus a couple of spares over the other side. That was all I could get out of it. When I then got the new keg on, I'd written D on it for dirty because it was the last one out of the bright tank, and it pulled quite a bit of sediment with it when we'd find it. So I just wasn't sure. Anyway, it wasn't good enough, guys, so that's just going to get tipped, I'm afraid. But the Murgy will be following. There's another 800 litres in the fermenter now. It's done. I've just started the cold crash, so we should get that into can in the next week or 2. Cross Stout, load of that. And Get Locky, load of that. And I've even tidied up my corner. And although we've switched the cold room off now because we don't need it, as I discovered last week, we've got to keep the water
agitated. It's got to be moving, because if not, what happens is the Lily's cider freezes solid in there. I don't know why. It shouldn't, because it's got alcohol in, right? But it does. So we've got to keep the water moving, make sure it doesn't turn into a big solid block of ice all the way through, I hope. Anyway, fingers crossed for next weekend. Next weekend we've got on, I'm alternating between the cross stout and the ginger beard at the moment. We've got ginger beard, that's going to go on. We've got Murgy Straight, it's another D for dirty. And Moston Dragon. When I say dirty, not dirty, just a bit more yeast in it than normal, but it should drop. It's had a good roll today. It's got brow sole in it. It should drop right to the bottom, and you'll never tell the difference. Worst case, my lines do reach the other casks in here. So if it doesn't look right on Friday evening, we'll swap it over to another one. We've still got Sean's Cruise Control. We've got some Hush Bonds, and I noticed that Clarkson's Lager has run out, so we're back on to Lucas from Thornbridge. But by next Friday, I might have our favourite Tegernseer Helles on. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. He's hoping Friday might be the day. But I'll talk about that on Facebook and social media if it happens. Right, I'm going to go and get me souvlaki.